Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up on today's episode, the war on Christmas.
Well, I don't think that's the war we're going to talk about. We're reframing.
That's the war that the big
they are talking about.
Yeah.
We've got a whole new take on it.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be super impressed.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to love it.
It's always something new and special from Thank God I'm Atheist.
Oh, yeah. We try to bring it.
We've toiled. We've worked so hard to bring this all.
Hey, you know what?
To you.
It's going to be
And I think
good.
it shows.
I think it's going to be good.
I think our level of dedication shows.
I agree with you, I guess. Okay. And we'll move on.
Well, before we do, though, Dan, shouldn't we bring up Joyride?
You want to do it now? Okay.
I think we should start off with it.
Right up the
It's
top.
important.
Here's
We'll
the
remind
deal.
at the end.
Here's the deal. Those of you who are
YouTube subscribers?
subscribers to our YouTube channel have seen that there's a thing happening, and maybe there was no explanation to it because a video went up of us
a couple weeks ago.
and now we can actually explain to you what that thing is.
Absolutely.
There's a new app out in the universe, just barely launched, called Joyride.
Yeah.
This is right now. My understanding is it's only for Android users.
It is at the moment, but
we are told that it is for all users at some point.
we've been promised
So
that the iTunes or the iPhone and iPods and whatnots
all of the
will be able to do this in the future soon.
the devices.
Right.
I'm putting the I in there. I'm trying to anyway. This will be on all of the things, but for right now, you Android users, I don't know what app you're listening to us on currently, but you feel free to use Joyride. Go and download it. It works with Android's Google Play or Google.
Well, that's
Drive.
what they call their store, Google Play.
Okay, but
As a non-Android person.
it's the Google Drive. It's the driving thing. There's a new interface with the drivey
it's the car thing.
There's a car/drivey thing, and I don't know what it is.
Right.
But this integrates really well with it.
Right. So there's a new thing that's coming out in cars. That's like future still. But what you can do right now is get the app from the Android store. Now, what this app lets you do,
you want to be ahead of the curve, don't you?
Right. What this app lets you do is it's not just a playing platform, but it's also a fundraising platform.
Right.
It allows you to seamlessly both listen and offer your generous support.
You can listen to all of your podcasts on it, and you'll.
I think everything is there.
Pretty much everything's there. If you really like a show, let's just say out of the top of my head, as an example, let's say you're listening to our show, this particular program, right. and you want to, and you're like, wow, I really like those guys. They're great. Then you might want to. Then you can click on a thing in the app and donate to us. Right. Just a monthly thing. You've got all sorts of different options in terms of how much you're going to do.
Well, I think you can just pick the amount that you want. Now, what we're doing is we're also because it is a fundraising platform. It's set up like some of those other ones that are out there. We won't name names so as to not add confusion.
Right.
But if you're familiar with some of the other fundraising platforms, there are rewards at different levels and, recognition that might be given out at different levels. Anyways, the Joyride, look for us on Joyride.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to donate through that platform, boy, it would be a welcomed thing.
You go to is it getjoyride.com?
Getjoyride.com and then search for Thank God I'm Atheist.
So go to Get Joyride. Those of you who are listening on an Android device, it's we're a launch partner with them. They came to us and asked us to be a launch partner. It would make us look awful good if we had a bunch of listeners. Yeah. If we actually had people doing this.
Yeah.
So we encourage you to do that. It would be wonderful. Those of you listening on non-Android devices, you're off the hook for a little bit.
For a minute. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't go on and support at getjoyride.com.
True.
You can be a supporter there.
True. But you can also, if you want to support us, you can also still very much go to our website and click on the support tab. All of that's still in play.
Yeah, we're still set up on PayPal. Yep.
But yeah, there's some rewards set up for you if you go and go and do it through Joyride.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we get going?
Let's launch in here. I've got a story about this takes place in Mesa, Arizona, just south of our border. It's mind you, we're in western states, so just south of is a long distance. I had some friends back east who were like planning on coming out here, and they were like, "Hey, my grandma lives in Arizona. That's right next to Utah, right? Can I go visit?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's right next to Utah, but not in the same way that like Virginia and Maryland are next to each other. Not in the same way that like
they're not immediately adjacent.
In back east, everything is like 15 minutes from everything else.
Right.
In the west, it's yeah.
Okay. Very interesting tangent, Dan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure.
So down in Mesa,
everyone appreciates that. Shut up! I've been traveling. It's on the mind. Mesa, Arizona's. It's not. Everybody associates Utah with the Mormons.
That's true.
Not everybody knows that it's spilled out into other places.
Yeah, I think people are more and more aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
That Mormonism has a way of spilling into other areas.
That we weren't able to contain it here. There's an outbreak. It's a global killer. So there's a recent court filing, a complaint in federal court in Arizona that's been levied by 3 participants in a Mesa, Arizona high school softball team.
Okay.
The varsity softball team, according to the complaint, 3 of the girls playing on the team were penalized for not conducting team prayer in accordance with the directive of their coach, one Mr. Joseph Goodman. So, apparently it's a very Mormon-y community.
And they were, how were they penalized?
Well, they were, let's see. So I'm trying to find the quote here. And here's another thing, by the way, that it says. The suit alleges that other girls were monitoring their tweets and their Facebook posts, and when they said stuff that wasn't good Mormon-y stuff, they were reporting this to the coaches at the coaches' behest.
Oh my goodness!
So that
spying?
Yeah, there's spying going on. So yeah, it's
so the coach didn't know how to use Twitter. I mean, what's the deal?
Well, honestly, would you friend that coach? I guess Twitter you can is pretty out there, but so yeah, I mean, the school, the school for its part is defending its decision to punish a student. Oh, so apparently the girls were playing music that offended one of the other girls' sensibilities. It was just pop music or whatever.
That nasty, horrible pop music.
Right. It was all about that bass song or something.
Right,
anyway,
right.
So the plane. So they were. The school has defended its decision to punish. The students were punished. The school has defended the decision because their actions endangered team morale and unity, is what they were saying.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
And their morale and their unity was based on
being Mormon, obviously. I mean,
why would they not?
Yeah. Why can't you just participate for the sake of the team?
Yeah. You're not a team player.
Indeed.
We don't want you on our team.
Right. If you can't get with the program and the
I don't care how good you are at, what was it, volleyball?
Softball.
I don't care. Softball.
Your underhand pitch is the best in the league, but if you can't
get on board with this Joseph Smith crap.
If you refuse to just pray with us.
Yeah.
What good are you to us? Yeah.
You need to pray. The team that prays together.
Plays together or whatever.
Hmm?
Anyway, it's unclear what the punishments were. There's a lot that isn't clear from the filings, and I think these students are not actually named because they're still in school and they're underage and all that sort of thing. But that's happening. That's a filing in a court.
Oh.
So we'll have to see how it turns out.
We will definitely have to follow that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would, the whole Dalai Lama,
The whole one,
His Holiness,
His Holiness the Dalai Lama,
the entire Dalai Lama,
his wholeness,
his completeness, the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
I guess he's going to be in Rome, because there's going to be a summit of Nobel Peace Prize winners.
Oh, sure.
In that city. And of course, then it raises the question, if the Dalai Lama is in Rome, is he going to have a chat with the Pope?
Sure.
Right? Like,
one
would assume that
when I go to
leaders,
Rome, I assume that I'll meet the Pope.
Yeah. And leaders of international international religious figures. You think they'd want to meet?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would. When I become an international religious leader,
now exactly.
I will want to meet the Pope and the Dalai Lama.
Are you saying you're not an international religious leader?
I guess not.
No. The Dalai Lama is a bit of a political lightning rod.
Well, I'm going to
guess that's where you're going.
He has some political problems, and the Vatican, being not just a religious organization but also a political organization.
Yeah.
The politics are getting in the way of the religion.
And
so they are. They're not going to meet.
Oh,
because of China. It's always China these days, isn't it?
Well, of course it's China. Well, I mean, with the Dalai Lama, that's what it's about, is China.
But what's interesting about this whole thing is the Vatican has not had political ties with China since 1951. But they
official political ties.
No, they have no diplomatic ties.
Oh, okay.
And they refuse. China, I guess, doesn't. I don't know the reasons why, but the Vatican is working to build some diplomatic ties with China, and China often they object to meetings of heads of state with the Tibetan, with Dalai Lama,
with the ousted leader of the Tibetan Buddhist movement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they get kind of pissy about that.
They do get pissy, and it's not easy. It's not difficult to make the Chinese pissy, and then they get all they just get butthurt about.
It's like
everything.
the second tenet of communism is just get pissy about shit.
Pissiness. Yeah. So,
Dan, I thought your computer runs on silent. Silence.
That was your computer.
That wasn't my computer.
Okay, it was mine. It might have been mine. I don't know.
Because we would have heard it through my headphones.
Oh, that's a good point.
If it was mine.
Anywho, I guess China and the Vatican. I know that there are a lot of Catholics in China.
There are some.
And by a lot, I mean like not a lot by Chinese population standards, but
probably the same amount as a small country somewhere, though, would be my guess.
Easily outnumbering the Vatican, for instance.
In small countries.
Just to pick one out of the blue. All right, I'm going to move on. There was an interesting article in Vice magazine, on Vice.com. I don't know if it was in the magazine.
Oh, Dan!
But it was.
Please get these things straight.
A couple of astute listeners sent this one in. Apparently there's some good money being made at MormonBoys.com. And now,
tell me more.
And now MormonGirls.com.
No. Tell me about the Mormon boys.
Well, it's exactly what you think it is.
Okay. Are they being good or are they being bad?
A young man calling himself LeGrand Wolf which Vice says is obviously not his real name because Vice doesn't know Utah at all.
That's clearly his real name.
It could not be. I mean, I think actually Vice is saying this is a pseudonym.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's not obvious to a Utahn that that's not a real name.
Right.
LeGrand is a pretty common name in Utah.
Yeah.
Sadly. Anyway, Brother Wolf was a Mormon missionary. Went from Provo, Utah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's from Provo, Utah, but part of our story takes place in Provo when he went to the missionary training center.
And realized all the guys were hot.
And he had never been a sports guy, so this was his first showering in the communal whatever thing experience.
Oh yeah.
And that's when things took interesting turns inside of him. And of course he tried to stay Mormon and he tried to stay good, but you can't be queer on your mission and whatnot. But he was.
Oh,
and apparently he had an assignation with one of his companions on the mission.
That sounds scandalous.
And that's when he realized, or maybe that's not when he realized it, but that was the germ that got him to where he is now, which is a pornographer.
He started contemplating at age 19 in the showers at the MTC.
Sure. So
about pornography.
So apparently this is definitely niche porn. But you're gonna see. Okay, I have to warn you. I'm not your dad. Everybody listening out there. So you're welcome to go to MormonBoysWithAZ.com.
Right.
It is explicit. It is all gay porn.
Okay.
So I just want that warning out there. If you click,
does it involve garments?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna partake.
It doesn't exclusively involve garments, but it involves all Mormon stories.
Gross.
Well,
wait, involves Mormon stories?
Well, like
they reenact the first vision.
No, but that would be brilliant. Suddenly now if we need to turn to porn, now we've got our niche.
This is my only begotten son. Hear him.
Yeah. So from this arose MormonGirls.com.
Lesbian porn?
So far, it involves only women. There's not been any men interloping into it.
Oh.
Just sisters. Sisters
enjoying each other.
Learning about their bodies and themselves.
How wonderful.
Equally
all
explicit.
Captured on film.
All captured.
Or at least high-definition video.
Right. I gotta say, as an ex-Mormon guy, you have to understand, there's nothing sexy about Mormon garments.
No,
the garments are the underwear.
There are those though that have that fetish.
Sure,
and I do not understand that, and I find it really gross.
I kind of get it. It's not that I have the fetish, but when I went and looked at it, I was like, it's the defiling of something that's supposed to be sacred thing.
Yeah, but it just doesn't. If it was sacred and it fit well, it would be different.
Oh,
I would have no problem with that.
And it's even worse for the girls because the women have to wear their bra over their
that's true.
Their top, and so it's this bizarre thing. But they explore that in these videos.
Oh, weird.
There's something just clever that's happening in these videos. If you're sensitive and you don't want to see explicit things, do not go.
Right.
But if you're curious, I went and took a look at some of both sites, and
does it cost anything?
No, there's a lot of free content.
Oh,
so
wonderful!
So off you go, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy yourself. But yeah, it's
if they look like the BYU boys, I'm all over it.
Oh, and they do. They find some cute young fellers and some cute young ladies.
Well, the ladies don't interest me at
all.
Well,
I'm trying to talk to our listeners, Franklin. I'm not just talking to you.
Well, I for a moment forgot that we had listeners. Dan.
Yes,
I was contemplating.
You were
this.
A little distracted. I can understand that. I'm sorry. So yeah, it was bound to happen. It's Rule 34 of the internet. There's if you can imagine it, it's out there. It exists.
Yeah, whatever can happen will happen
on the internet.
That's Murphy's Law of the internet.
Murphy's interstellar law of the internet, because that's not my understanding of actual Murphy's Law, but that's okay.
But Matthew McConaughey said it, so I'm going with it.
It's now Murphy's actual
that's
law.
Murphy's Law.
It's because McConaughey's law is once he says it, it's for real.
Oh, well, yeah,
that's McConaughey's law. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that out into the world that
I love it.
exists.
That's great.
They need to start. Here's where they've really missed some opportunities, though.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my opinion.
Okay.
They got all these young, cute people. They need to start doing the older sort of sister so and so and older brother so and so, like the leaders of the ward, or the one.
The Relief Society president gets together with the Elders Quorum president.
No,
the bishop.
No, the Relief Society president gets together with the returned missionary.
Oh, some Mrs. Sister Robinson.
Sister
stuff.
Robinson. Yes, you've done it. That's our new website. Look for it coming out, produced by TGIA exclusively, sisterrobinson.com. Cuckoo Cachoo. Look at you. It's I think, because I remember, I don't know about you, but I remember being in church in sacrament meeting, and you get bored and whatever, and then you look over, down the pew, a couple pews ahead or whatever, and there's sister and or brother so and so, and they're just cute. They just got something going on. You start to hear those 1970s guitar chords coming in. That wah pedal starts going crazy.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay. Well, I have I'd like to move on to a story about, it's a situation in Missouri.
Okay.
They just set a new record.
Oh, good.
The records are good, right? I like records.
Always. There's never been a moment where someone set a record and it's been a bad thing.
No, never.
It's always a good thing.
Well, Missouri just set one. And it is, they have set the record, they have a new record for the number of executions that they have performed in 1 year.
Oh.
Isn't that cute?
Congratulations, Missouri.
Yeah.
That's
new milestone.
Great.
Of course, it doesn't even come close to whatever Texas's record is, but
right.
So they they did 10 in 1 year.
Holy crap.
And the most recent one, which happened just the other day on Wednesday morning. So it's Friday today. So 2 days ago. They executed a man by the name of Paul Goodwin, who was convicted of sexually assaulting a 63-year-old widow.
Oh my God.
And then killing her with a hammer in 1998. The governor, Jay Nixon, refused clemency, referring to the brutality and the senselessness of the crime.
Yeah.
And the daughter of the victim, I don't know if she actually did end up attending the execution, but according to the story, she planned on it. She said that she needs to make sure that in my own mind that man is dead. And now the details about the mental fitness of Paul Goodwin.
Oh, no.
Who clocked in at about 73 IQ points.
Okay.
And was declared borderline intellectually disabled.
Sure.
And
still 73 is not like 50.
No,
or
but
well,
he
that's
has
too low.
The mental understanding of a 13-year-old, or had, I guess I should say.
Right.
And so Missouri
went ahead and executed
him in potential violation of state and federal law, and of course Supreme Court hearing or rulings about how it is illegal to execute somebody who is mentally handicapped or quote unquote retarded.
Who theoretically lacks the mental capacity to be able to understand the consequences of what he did,
the full crime that they committed,
and why he's being executed. I don't know. It's we've delved into the whole idea of capital punishment before, and it's a tricky thing to even just talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, this is part of the problem, right? Part of the problem with having a death penalty is that we have to draw lines like
Yeah,
this.
we have to figure out who it's okay to kill and who it isn't
Right.
okay to kill.
Right, exactly. Like,
Oh, that's a fun discussion.
at what point do we? Where do we draw these lines? You know,
That feels like a civilized
yeah, exactly.
society trying to. Oh, isn't that good? We
Well-
don't execute those people,
Right.
Oh. but actually we do.
But we do.
You look at Texas and this case in Missouri, and there's a long line of mentally
I just had
handicapped
a bad
people
joke jump into my.
being executed.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, he did a horrific thing.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think anyone
Or-
would
Right.
argue with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What he can't be allowed in normal society. He's clearly, it's tough to know how to deal with these things. That's just an impossible situation.
Right.
So I'm not going to come down one way or another right now,
Yeah.
having
But,
just heard about it. But
I guess. I mean, we were just talking about this line, and I guess states have been allowed to, or states set their own bar, right? But just last year, the Supreme Court ruled that a hard cutoff of a 70 IQ is not constitutional, right? So that they're saying just setting a line isn't constitutional.
Well, yeah,
you can't just use this number. You have to delve into it. And
an IQ as a concept is a pretty loose idea. I mean, there's it tests 6, I think, testable modes of intelligence, but that
Sure.
doesn't actually tell you. It tells you how well this person does on those 6 modes of intelligence as compared to other people. How much does that have to do with
your understanding of
your
the crime?
understanding? Yeah, I mean, like, because you say, that's the equivalent of a 13-year-old, but really that's not actually the case.
No. I hope it didn't sound like I was saying that 13-year-olds have an IQ of 73 on average.
No.
What I was saying was he had a low IQ and somebody had assessed him to be at the level of a 13-year-old.
Right.
And that may not have been clear.
And that's not, but that's even at that, it's not an accurate way of talking about it because actual intelligence brings in experience and all of this stuff, and there's just no easy way to talk about this. And because there's no easy way to talk about it, there's certainly no easy way to decide if whether it's okay to kill somebody based on it. This is just, he's gone. I mean, that's kind of that's the nuts and the bolts of it. I don't know even where to go with that. It's tricky. So you all meditate on that for a bit. But I'm going to move on, I think, to Canada. Lovely, what is it? Hamilton, Ontario. Canada.
Oh, I love Hamilton.
Which I think is just outside of Toronto, but I'm not positive on that one. Anyway, Hamilton is where Peter Wald used to live with his wife, Kaling. Peter died a while back, not too long ago, of a disease that he and his family were sure that God would cure him of. He did not treat him. He did not get treated. He had diabetes and was suffering from a foot infection. Apparently, and he when neighbors asked, Kaling would say, his wife would just say it was in God's hands now. They were sure. He believed that God would cure him. God didn't.
Okay,
but
God can be.
God. He
does that.
He's a fickle one.
It's interesting how
I almost
often
feel like
he doesn't do that, and yet people think he does.
It feels mysterious.
Yeah,
the ways that God works to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kaling decided not to let it just end there. Her faith was stronger than that. So she decided God's just late. And he'll show up soon.
Well, okay, but the guy's dead.
Well, is there not precedent for God to bring someone back from the dead? I submit to you, sir, that there is.
It's happened. I wouldn't say that it happens all the time.
Maybe
God is kind of stingy with this one. That's what I've noticed.
It does seem like
there are two cases that I can immediately think of people coming back to life.
right. Sure, you got your Lazarus
And your Jesus.
You got your Jesus.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Are there others? Are there others?
Well, no, including but not limited to this guy. She kept him in their home for at least weeks, possibly months. His corpse, not reporting the death to the police or to coroner or anything like that.
Oh dear God.
So yeah, when so apparently they went to evict her
because
I think she was not being a nice tenant or neighbor or something.
She was being a stinky neighbor, probably.
I'm sure she was, and that's when they found the source of the stinky, which was her husband, her as yet unresurrected husband. She has now been through the court system and been.
Oh, what a shame!
She was charged with what was she? She was charged at first with neglect of duty regarding a dead body and indignity to a body. Those charges were dropped and replaced with a single charge of what was it? It was just I don't even know what the charge was. Anyway, she's been
do whatever that was for a dead body. That one I could totally see the neglect of. Or the
indignity to a body.
The indignity to the body. I would have to say, in her mind, she was there. She wasn't doing anything to the body except for just letting it decompose.
Right.
She wasn't like. Hopefully, she wasn't fondling the body or anything like that.
Or doing things. Doing
with things.
It does seem like
defiling the body.
I feel like you have to do things with the body in order to
just there. I don't know the second one.
I'm with you.
The first one, yeah. No, she failed to do something that you need to do when there's a dead body in your house, which is call the authorities and have the dead body removed.
Yeah. She got off pretty easy from the judge.
No kidding.
She received a suspended sentence and an order to get counseling, as well as 18 months probation. I feel like a court should be able to order you to stop believing stupid things. But they can't.
They can't.
There's nothing to do about that.
Dan. You can't.
So anyway, everybody stop believing stupid things out there, or you're gonna have a stinky dead corpse in your house. And that's a fact. That'll just happen to you.
One will be delivered.
I'm not telling you how it happens. I'm just saying at some point, if you start believing stupid things, you're gonna end up with a dead body in your house.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, all right. Well, there's been an interesting development that's happened.
Oh, good.
In the United States.
Mm-hmm. That's where they
our
happen.
fair land.
All interesting things happen here.
Yeah. Apparently, there has been an uptick in the number of Americans who want to separate religious marriage, want to separate out the civil component of religious marriages.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so what has happened is there are now prominent pastors who are refusing to sign state marriage licenses. They'll perform the religious half of it, but they are not going to sign the traditional documents that go along with marriage.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Because of gays.
Right, of course it's because of gays. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's really okay. That's a funny twist.
Yeah,
the fact that they're like, yeah, I'm not going to sign that.
Yeah,
which means that they have to go and get married, actually married by another officiant.
Yeah,
like some justice of the peace somewhere, who will sign the thing.
Yeah. Well, what I find also very interesting about the whole thing is, now they see the value in the separation of church and state.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Now that makes sense to them.
Sure.
On this issue, at least.
Right.
If nothing else.
Yeah, because, queers.
It's amazing how much clarity of mind can come when gays enter the conversation. we're helping people understand this issue.
Thank you, Frank.
I'm doing my part.
Thank you very much. Anyway, yeah, that's
Isn't that amazing though?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's just, I'd love to be a fly. I'd love to be a fly on the wall of one of those conversations where, this big pastor has agreed to marry this young couple and they're super stoked about it, and then he goes, "Oh, but I won't be signing your paperwork."
Right.
Oh, really? Why not? Well, because I'm trying to separate church marriage and state marriage, and I want them to be two separate entities, and blah blah blah. Okay, but you're marrying us, right? Yes, in the eyes of the Lord,
You'll be married.
You'll be married. You're going to have to get the estate stuff figured out somewhere else. Oh, okay. Is there someone here that will sign the paperwork, or?
But Dan, you're like approaching this as sort of a rational liberal couple who's
Right.
just like wanting to get married and have this concern. But the people
wonder-
that this guy is pastoring,
Yeah.
no.
The other
They're gonna be
question
like,
is-
yeah, damn
Right.
straight, pastor.
Right. So the question becomes:
Thanks
Does
for taking a stand on this.
this lead to a whole bunch of people who are, quote, spiritually married, but won't get married with the state? So technically, by the state's definition, they're just living in sin.
That would be up to them. Well, no, the state doesn't define sin.
Well, that's true, but what I'm saying is that by the state's definition, they're living together in an unmarried union.
Right. Well, hopefully it's a common law state, and those laws will just kick in on automatically after a certain period of time. Yeah, but what's interesting is there was also a survey done. Nearly 6 in 10 Americans say marriage should not be defined and regulated by the state.
Oh,
That's
yeah, because
59%. So
there's a big old mess right now.
big
That's
old
why.
mess. Nearly half say that religious weddings should not be connected to the state's definition and recognition of marriage.
Okay.
And about a third say clergy should no longer be involved in the state's licensing of marriage.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it should be lawyers, really. I mean, you're signing a legal document there.
Well, I don't think there's any reason to involve lawyers unless you've got a lot on the line,
Right.
A lot of property to worry about.
Indeed.
Otherwise, go down to your county, fill out the paperwork, or your state or your city, whoever the issuing body is, and
Right.
where you live, and you're done.
Yeah.
Sign it. You're good.
Just sign it. I know some states, at least I can think of one state where the law says that you don't even need an officiant. You
Right.
just sign the paperwork
Yeah.
if you want to, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Which I think is nice.
Yeah, as it should be.
I don't know why you would need that. Anyway, if you'd like to get involved in this conversation, tell us how you got married or why you won't get married or something. I don't know. You can chime in.
Yeah, please do.
You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Sure. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and join up in the members only lounge. You just go to Facebook and you search TGIA members only lounge and join that.
Absolutely. And of course, the website is www.thankgodimatheist.com.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. This is Brian Fisher.
Brian Fisher.
Brian Fisher.
He's
got something to say about rights.
in
America.
He sure does.
Do not forget that these jihadists have no constitutional rights because they're not American citizens, and they have no Geneva Convention rights because they didn't sign the Geneva Convention. That's for people who fight in uniform and actually are signers on the Geneva Convention. So they have absolutely no legal rights that they can claim anywhere. So whatever treatment we give them, if there's any mercy involved in it, they have no right to that. That's simply because we are merciful people who are driven by Christian principles.
Oh.
Those Christian principles like waterboarding.
Yeah.
There's
got no right to mercy.
they got no right
Who
to it.
do these people think they are?
Because, as we all know, if it's not written down, you don't have that right.
It's not a right.
It's not a right.
Rights must be defined legally.
Now, here's the thing. I am every bit as much, I believe, a international law scholar as Mr. Brian Fisher. So I feel that I can speak fairly authoritatively on this subject.
Right.
I think the Geneva Convention, correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, but it doesn't apply to the people under the governing bodies. It applies to how the governing bodies have to act to everybody.
Yeah, I don't think it's like if your country signed it or not, you have those rights.
Right.
Or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Those protections.
Oh, shoot. I'm from...
I think it's all those countries who signed it agreed to just be
exactly.
good.
I'm from
at a certain
Bhutan,
level.
so that doesn't apply to me. None of the Geneva protections apply to me. I'm from a non-signatory country, so I guess you can do whatever you want to me.
Right. I don't think that's how it works.
That's not how that works.
That seems a little fishy to me.
Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
You're fishy, Fisher.
Yeah.
You're a fishy Fisher.
Or, yeah.
Well, we had some folks writing in and calling in.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just dive right in. We can't do all of the emails and stuff. Sadly. So don't be offended ever if we don't use your stuff on the air. Well, I want to thank everybody for writing in. Graham wrote to us. He said, "Hey guys, I'd like to start off by saying that I'm a huge fan of the show. That's good because you're writing to us.
Yeah, you better be.
It'd be weird if you were writing to us and you weren't a fan.
Well, someone could hate us.
It's true.
Be writing to
that's
us.
true. This isn't hate mail, so that's nice. I happen to be the guy. He says I happen to be the guy that makes the Scalia memes whenever I feel the urge. Well, argle bargle to you. All jokes aside." I have a serious piece of advice to ask. I've been an atheist for about 4 years now. While I'm happy about living my life without a veil of lies, I have a problem. I'm constantly made angry by any mention or display or religion. This is completely exhausting. I've noticed constantly that you two approach this subject with humor and a roundabout sense of positivity. How in the absolute fuck do you accomplish that? I do not want to be angry. I actually hate it. I just want to be able to function civilly in a world gone mad. You two actually seem to have a handle on said fevered dream. Please help. And he gives some background about being working in Christian mission work as a youth and working with drug addicts and being told that if he doesn't spread the word to these drug addicts while he's working with them, then what's the point?
Right.
And this fuels his anger and all that sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
Graham, thanks for writing in.
So how do we stay happy?
Well, here's the thing, and this is for everybody. You really do have to just acknowledge the fact that life is fucked up.
Yeah.
It just is. And that's I mean, there's plenty of really fucked up atheists and there's really fucked up everything.
Right.
Nothing is geared toward you.
Yeah. Well, and I think also coming to terms with the fact that you have absolutely no control over any of it.
Right.
No amount of anger. Like it's seriously just letting the anger go.
You just
I mean, I'm going to start I hope I don't sound like some kind of self-helpy crapo thing. But like just let it go.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, we get angry.
Oh yeah. There's plenty to be angry about, but the idea is that your place in all of this fuck-uppedness is yours to define.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you don't need to if you get mad every time you see a cross or every time you see a this or a that, I just went on a couple weekends ago, went out to a little town called Glenwood Springs, Colorado. And it's a beautiful mountain town, and high up on the one of the mountain peaks, there's a lit cross that comes out at night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I had the worst experience. They have these caves that you can explore, really cool. Stalactites and stalagmites, and you got a person guiding you through and whatever.
And you had a bad experience?
Well,
Sounds amazing.
I asked the guide how old a pillar was. So a pillar is where a stalactite has actually met up with a stalagmite. And he had been talking about like how long it takes for these things.
6,000 years.
He wouldn't give me a number.
What?
He literally, so earlier he had said it takes 1,000 years to create 1 cubic inch of stalactite here.
Right.
essentially. And it's different in different caves because of different
Mineral content.
and weather environments
right.
and that sort of
amount
thing.
of water flowing in.
Right. So I just asked, can you give me and he went into this whole hemming and hawing thing about, well, different scientists this and we don't want to that and blah, blah, blah. And really,
Was it Jesus did it?
I think that they can't. I think that they just won't say anything beyond 6,000 years.
Was this affiliated with the cross thing, or was
no?
this,
It's not affiliated
was
at
it
all.
a state thing?
No, it's not. It's
A
private.
private
It's all
thing.
privately
Okay.
owned. I get the sense though that they just won't go there because they don't want to piss off.
They don't know who you are.
The
You
Jesus
should be able to
freaks.
just like check a box when you come in
Right.
as to which set of answers you want. Do you want truth, or do you want scientific truth, or do you want
the
Christian version?
the cute Jesus story? God done it. All right, that's how long
Yeah.
it took. God done it.
That's fascinating.
But
Dan.
I mean, the whole point is that, like, yeah, all of this shit's gonna happen. It's frustrating and it's annoying and it can be really upsetting sometimes.
right.
But you still got to live your life.
Yeah, and you can't live that way.
You can't live that way, and you got to understand that, like, also, like, the march of progress.
Right.
Though you see the pendulum swing forward and then it swings back or whatever, things are going much, much better than they were 50 years ago,
Oh yeah.
100 years ago, even
no
10
doubt.
years ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's getting better. You
Yeah.
got to take the long view.
Yeah.
You got to take the long view. But you have to come to a place where you can accept the world as it is.
Yeah.
Because it is that way.
And that's yeah.
And then if you want to make small changes in the world, if you want to work for change,
Yeah.
go out there and do it.
Yeah. The happiness is yours to find and to have.
Yep.
Like it shouldn't be. Hopefully, it won't be elusive
Indeed.
for you.
Indeed.
Because I mean, yeah. For me, it's acceptance. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
You want to play a voicemail?
I can play a voicemail. Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's do first the clarification.
Okay.
That came in.
Okay.
Hey guys, this is Tucker from the Atheist in the Trailer Park podcast, and Glenn Beck was not merely a morning zoo crew guy, he was a shock jock, and he got in trouble because he made fun of a woman who had a miscarriage. She was married to a rival DJ in the area and had a miscarriage after years of trying to have a kid, and he thought it'd be great to make fun of her on the air. Love the podcast. Toodles.
And toodles to you. Toodles to you, too.
Well, thank you for
yeah.
adding a little more information to the discussion that Adam and I were having last week. And
Indeed.
we brought up Glenn Beck and kind of just the trajectory that the course that his life has followed. And
Yeah.
and yeah, that's a wonderful detail.
By the way, I should thank
Speaks
Adam
tons
for
about. Oh yeah.
for jumping in for me. That was awful sweet. I was out of town visiting family, so it was very nice of Adam to jump in.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
I'll read another voice or another email. Whatever the ones that I do are, I'm gonna do one of them. And this one actually, maybe this is really related to the last one that we did, and so I probably shouldn't read them both. But then this is from someone who's young, I think, and
Just read it, Dan.
I'll just read it. I can't turn down a young person. I do love my young folks. Hi, Frank and Dan. Excuse me. First off, let me tell you how much I like your podcast. It's always entertaining, funny, and educational. I'll debate you on the educational, but hopefully the other two. I was listening to an episode recently where you mentioned how it's difficult to cope with the fact that there isn't an afterlife. And I was really happy I'm not the only one who feels this way. I was raised Mormon and still actively go to church and stuff, but my faith took a huge hit after my grandpa died over the summer, and I haven't been able to get back to where I was. I've always been a bit of a cafeteria Mormon, but I've never completely doubted the existence of God until recently. It's a really scary, painful state of mind. I'll be completely honest, the only thing stopping me from offing myself was belief in the afterlife, and how committing suicide would make me end up in the lowest kingdom, in Mormonism, the telestial kingdom. But there were things I strongly believed in that caused me some self-esteem problems in my life. For instance, I believed in the dark skin curse and was constantly angry that I wasn't born white, to the point where I tried to bleach my skin with hydroquinone cream, and other raw chemicals. But now that I doubt the afterlife entirely, it makes my life seem really, really long and meaningless. For instance, I was adopted, and my parents tell me over and over again how God led them to me and how I was placed in my home because God had a plan for me to be raised in his true church. But now, it doesn't mean anything anymore. I'm not special, and my life isn't important. My schooling isn't important to me anymore. I used to think I was led by the Spirit to apply at certain college and choose a certain major. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night with a sense of dread because I'll never see dead family members again, including all the ancestors I used to avidly research on Family Search and Ancestry.com. Since my faith crisis, I've dropped out of college and have absolutely no idea what to do with my life anymore. Anyway, that's he says, that's my long rambling story about becoming an atheist. Thanks again for your podcast. Isa, I guess is the name.
Well, I think there's a couple things that we need to.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot.
There's a lot to address, but there's a couple.
Very basic
important things. First of all, I would suggest seeking out some professional counseling.
Please do that. Reaching out to us is great.
Yeah,
but we're just a couple of idiots with microphones.
Yeah.
So really consider going to counseling just to get you through the grief and to get you through this process. It's not about anything being broken with you.
Yeah.
But it's about people who are very smart, who can guide you through this emotional sort of
It sounds like
stormy weather.
Yeah, you're dealing with some very serious emotional type things. A lot of refiguring out your place in the world,
in the universe.
Yeah. What is you had an answer to the question of what is the meaning to life.
And now you don't.
And that's disruptive and that's difficult. What's the name of Daryl Ray's project?
The Secular Therapy Project.
Yeah, look that up. They list therapists from all over the country, but they approach it from a secular perspective.
Right. So it's completely anonymous, and therapy. It will help connect you, hopefully, to a therapist in your area.
Yeah.
Who is not going to try and proselytize a religion to you.
Right. Exactly. Which is key.
Aside from that, though, there are a couple things that I do want to say to you. I know it seems scary, but there's actually a great freedom in finding your own meaning in life.
Yeah.
There's something very beautiful. Now, it's harder work than just having it fed to you.
Yeah.
And that's what you're staring down the barrel of, is really going inside and figuring out what's meaningful about your life to you.
Yeah.
But it's all you.
Yeah.
You get your life now.
Right.
It's yours. It doesn't belong to anybody else, and no one can tell you what's important.
Right.
To you. So that's a good thing, and I think you can embrace that. And I think that you can also embrace, and I'm not going to tell you to end up atheist. It sounds like you're in that path, but you're still going to church and whatever. It's not for me to tell you where you're going to end up. I mean, you're in the middle of a crisis. You've just been through a grieving process. Don't shoot for an end goal.
Yeah.
Just process right now. Just go through it. Be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself. You're gonna be okay. This is where Dan Savage has us make an "It Gets Better" video.
Right.
But it does.
It does get better.
It gets better. You're gonna be okay. I promise.
Yeah.
You gotta make it through the hard stuff. You gotta get your machete out and start chopping through the forest.
Yeah.
But eventually you'll come out and you'll understand yourself a lot better than you ever have before.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, you'll get a great perspective on things.
Yeah.
This is a freeing thing. It's terrifying taking these first few steps.
Because it's so disruptive, right? It's so disruptive to how you, just everything that you knew about the universe is different
Right.
than what you thought.
And you feel like you're stepping into a giant void.
Yeah.
It's like you're jumping down the rabbit hole. You have no idea what's down there.
Right.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
You'll find that it's freeing and it's joyful and it's easy. There's an ease to it
Mm-hmm.
once you get to that point. So
Yeah.
just take it easy.
Don't oversell the easy.
Oh well, yeah.
Don't oversell
that's
it.
That's a good point. I don't mean to imply that everything.
That there's
is-
not a lot of hard work involved.
right,
But anyways.
but there's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
There's a nice easy feeling. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. But
Yeah.
but do seek some one-on-one attention from someone who's smart and qualified to
Yeah.
talk to you.
Well, I have another voicemail,
Great.
and this is from a listener who dared ask the question of what is the value of a soul?
What?
Hey, Frank and Dan, it's Cody from Austin. Years ago, when I was in a social studies class in college, there was a girl droning on about her missionary work in some foreign country. And it got me to thinking, because she said that they went there to help convert people and save their souls, and I asked her how many did she save or how many did she convert. Her and the teacher looked at me like that was the weirdest damn question I could have asked. But in my mind, I was thinking how much money it took to get her over there for room and board and travel expenses versus how many souls she would save. So it was an economical question. Like, is it worth the church's time sending her over there if she's only converting one person versus some other guy or girl who's converting like 20 or 30 people? I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Maybe you guys would like it. And I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on it. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.
Oh my God.
That's kind of amazing. I do like the kind of the economic equation to figure out if it's worth sending out a missionary.
Oh yeah. Well,
That's brilliant.
yeah.
Because yeah, they may be being quite foolhardy.
I would have to say though that economics is clearly an invention of man. And therefore has no place in determining the value of one's soul.
You did get me
you
on
know,
that one.
I don't think that a Christian, considering whether all that work, all that money, all that effort, and all they got was one person to accept Jesus, they feel so good about it. But I will tell you this, as a former Mormon missionary, going to a place like Rome on my mission,
Yeah.
it was a little bit of a mind fuck when my head was still in it. That man, you know, like I'm only like potentially gonna like maybe baptize a couple people.
Yeah, you got nothing.
You know, and these missionaries, they go to Brazil and they baptize seemingly hundreds.
Yeah.
You know.
You if you come
It's like-
short of 50, you've failed in
Like-
Brazil
like, yeah.
or in Mexico.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, all right.
Oh,
I guess, okay.
it's so hard.
All right. So,
I like it. I like it. I think that we need to start introducing. Also, we need to develop software that each church can run to see like who's selling well, who's out there doing good in the field, who's maybe not pulling their weight,
oh yeah.
maybe not worth sending out there.
Oh.
Unless if they self-fund it, fine, they can go. But
Yeah.
the church is not going to be paying for you to go to Haiti because you're just not doing it.
Right.
You had what? You had one conversion when we sent you to the Dominican Republic. It's just not.
Shit.
It's just not worth our while.
It's not. It's not worth God's time.
Hey, maybe try around here.
You
There
know?
are plenty of heathens around here, so
Yeah.
just stay in this vicinity.
Your conversion dollar,
Right,
your
exactly.
your what would it be? Your cost per conversion,
Right.
would
It's too low.
but
Or
it
it's too
matches
high.
up much more with doing a domestic mission trip,
Yes, indeed.
rather than a foreign mission trip.
We'll buy you a lunch for every day that you go out there.
Here's a coupon for Subway.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm gonna move on. Hi, Frank and Dan. I am a longtime atheist and first-time writer-inner.
Oh.
I wanted to start by saying that I love listening to you guys. You are hilarious, causing frequent incidents of me walking down the street with my headphones on, laughing out loud, and
Yay.
looking like a crazy person.
That's what we're here
Well,
for.
we shoot for crazy people. That's what we go for. Oh, she said, and you have very sexy voices.
Oh.
Well, thank you.
Mm.
I like that our impulse is, both of us, our impulse is to change our voice.
To sound more like Adam.
To sound more like Adam. Right. We're both like,
hey.
well, yeah, thank you. Apparently we don't believe you that we have sexy voices and
So
we have to alter
we
them.
must make them deeper.
Anyway, I was wondering how you guys feel about agnosticism. I noticed that you rarely mention it on the show, even though I see agnosticism as a category of atheism, since it isn't theistic. I tend to have very little patience for it. I can feel the eye rolling coming on. It seems like a cop-out belief system to me. I'm like, pick a side, people. You know which one is right. Perhaps that's not totally fair to agnostics. Maybe some of them are taking an important step toward atheism away from whatever religion they came from. But at the same time, my skin starts to crawl when people even use the term higher power or spiritual. So I guess
interesting.
So
Okay.
yeah, she says thanks for all the great laughs, and that's Lauren. I think here's my take. It's been a while since we've defined our terms because we have a sort of semi-official way that we think about this.
There's a way that you think about it.
Oh, okay. I have defined the official TGIA definition.
Well, here's the deal. You're about to go down the road with a definition that I really don't have much of an argument against, except to say that there's a popular understanding of the two words. And
Right.
And she's definitely asking about that popular understanding.
Right. I was gonna get to there.
Okay.
We're gonna get to there. So, but as far as I'm concerned, definition wise,
Mm-hmm.
atheism, the meaning of the root word theism or theos from the Greek meaning God, meaning without. So atheism is just without a belief in a God. So anyone in my book who doesn't have a specific belief in a specific God
Mm-hmm.
or gods is atheist. Is without theism,
Right.
is an atheist.
Right.
Agnosticism doesn't even answer the same question.
Right.
It's not a question of what you do believe or don't believe. Agnosticism is whether you think it's possible to actually know.
Right.
Gnosticism, from Gnostic meaning think
Right.
or know.
Right.
So if you're agnostic, you believe that you can't know one way or the other for sure whether or not there's a God. Those are two totally different questions.
Right.
My personal belief is that every honest human on the planet, if they understand what the word agnostic actually means, is an agnostic.
Right.
Every honest person, with the possible exception of like Joseph Smith, who claims to have met God, so he knew,
Right.
or with the exception of
David Silverman.
who I don't know. I don't know if he feels that he's a fully Gnostic
I don't know. I just
atheist. I doubt that he is.
He's pretty.
He's a firebrand.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I don't personally know any atheists who make a completely positive assertion that they know that there's no God for sure. Because there's always that little bit of thing. Something.
Well, there's the whole thing of not being able to prove a negative, so you can't.
Right. Yeah, you can't
know
you can't.
that there is no God.
You just can't. You can be really, really sure. That doesn't mean you have to put God, their possibility of there being a God, on the same footing with the possibility of there not being a God.
Right.
You can believe that it is way more likely that there's no God than that there is a God, and that's
Right.
where most of us stand.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting. We just need to sort of get through this every now and then, just so that everybody knows what we're talking about here. But you're right that there's a common understanding of the word agnostic that just says, "Well, I just don't know one way or the other, and I'm not
take side.
I'm not going to take a side," and it's kind of it's viewed as a wishy-washy version of
Right.
of atheism.
And it often feels like the first step that people are willing to take when defining who they are, as they're leaving religion and sort of having a religious mind. or a believing mind, they're willing first to say agnostic,
Right.
And
it's a way
so
of them.
I love that there's an easy way in,
Mhm.
that they don't have to go, fully, accept that really tough and difficult word, because atheist is still a little scary as a word.
There's the other problem. So we've got one word that feels wishy-washy, and another word that, in popular understanding, feels like Satan.
Yeah.
Like
And strident.
It's been totally demonized,
uncompromising,
right? Exactly, and
rude
associated
and
with
angry,
right,
and
mean, and all of these sort of
Yeah.
things. That there are plenty of atheists that are like that, but I mean that's the association, right? So of course people don't want to jump to, hey, I'm going to associate with those guys.
I did.
Yeah, I know, I did too.
I don't know how or why.
Well, I mean,
As
for
a
me,
student at BYU,
and you're just like, oh,
you know what? I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
And start telling people.
that's funny.
This is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I just, as soon as it became the accurate descriptor for me, I just adopted it. But there's an emotional element to this, and I totally get that. And so I'm pretty easy on people that say that they're agnostic. Although frequently, when someone tells me that they're agnostic, what I'll say is, I'll bet I could convince you that you're an atheist.
Oh, damn.
Because then I just go into the definitions and I just say, look, I'm not trying to pigeonhole you. I'm not trying to make you say it. But if you don't have a specific belief in a specific God, guess what? Anyway, but you know what? People are, as we've heard, people are going through some shit.
Yeah.
You got to be gentle with them. If they need to say they're agnostic, fine, you're agnostic.
Give them
I don't care.
Who cares?
It's not. It doesn't
No
hurt
big
you.
deal.
Anyway, do we have any more? That's all the voicemail.
That's
right?
all the voicemails.
Okay.
for
Well,
today.
we do have some donors that I would very much like to thank.
Oh, okay.
Alex did a one-time donation. All of our donors this week are one-time donors, which is absolutely fine. We also like to have subscribers. So the difference being that you can do a one-time donation of whatever denomination whatever amount you want.
Yeah.
Or you can do a recurring payment that you just sign up for it and it just draws it sort of directly out of your account or whatever.
Once a month.
So these are all one-time donations. We had one from Alex, David, Misa, who I believe has donated before.
She has, yeah.
And Lauren. So thank all of you very much. If you also want to donate and you weren't listed, and Rachel, sorry, also donated. If you want to donate to us and you have Android app or an Android device, and that's how you listen to us, please go to Joyride, which is at getjoyride.com, or you can download the app.
Go to the Google Play store
and just download the app. It's free, obviously, to you, and then go ahead and sign up and sign up to be a contributor. If you don't have the Android, always you can go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and click on the support tab.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, Dan.
Yes, sir.
Tis the season.
Here comes Bill O'Reilly. Here comes Bill O'Reilly. Right down anger lane.
Na-na-na-na.
It's the time of year when war is on everyone's mind.
It's supposed to be peace on earth. And a time for peace on earth and goodwill toward men.
I'm starting to think it's supposed to be a time for war.
Well, according to Bill O'Reilly, it is.
Yeah. This is of course the time of year when we start to see nonstop how bad of people we the atheists are, because we're making everybody stop saying Merry Christmas. And
horrid.
We're forcing, we're putting up billboards that are wildly offensive because they say something like, not everybody likes to go to church. And
horrible.
It's just
pointing out a truth.
Oh, it's just a nightmare.
It
is
the worst.
And it's a war is what it is.
It clearly, I don't know how else I would define it.
Right?
How else would one define
it's
what putting up a billboard? or just asking people to acknowledge that, well, there is actually more than one holiday going on, and not everybody believes in your holiday.
Or saying the words "Happy Holidays"
Right.
to someone.
Yes.
That's an act of war, my friends.
War.
So, you and I talk about this sometimes, and I think you and I have even come out on the show and said that we were declaring war on Christmas and stuff.
Yes. Down with Christmas.
Which is so funny because you and I
Up
love
with Xmas.
we like Christmas. Jesus-mas. Put the Jesus back in Jesus-mas. Anyway, here's what we were thinking about.
Yeah.
You guys. I want to reframe it. I want to reframe this idea because what we as secular people and religious minorities in most of the places where our listeners are, not all of them, but most, what we are declaring is not a war on Christmas.
No, that's never what it's been.
It's never been that, but we've never really declared what it is that we have, what we are declaring a war on.
Right.
So I think you and I think Thank God I'm Atheist is officially going to declare war on Christian privilege. There's your war right there. Because that's what we're up against.
Yeah.
That's what we're really after.
Does it come with an advent calendar?
Yes.
Because I want
With
my
little-
pieces of chocolate.
Little hate chocolates come out. From each day, you get one that's in,
Well, what it is it's not just one color of chocolate. It's all of the chocolates.
the united colors of
They're all there. Because it's, you're right. What they're responding to is a threat on their privilege.
Right, exactly. They have enjoyed the ability to dominate society here in these United States and many other countries around the world for so long.
For too long.
That it feels totally normal to them.
Right.
So when you start to take that privilege away from them,
Right.
little tiny bits at a time.
Not
Just
even anything serious.
No big deal.
You get to still do all your stuff.
Right. Just
You still get all that crap in all the supermarkets.
right. No one can take any of that away from you.
Yeah.
All we're asking is don't make our kids pray with your kids. And don't put religious symbols where our kids have to look at them and be confused by them.
Right.
In the same places, by the way, where you would wildly object to someone else putting their religious symbols
Absolutely.
up.
Right.
So anywhere that you would feel horrified by someone putting up, let's say, a statue of Baphomet, the satanic god, or whatever.
Right.
Don't put your symbols up there.
Right.
Any of those things, that's all we're asking.
Yeah. Easy.
It's
It's
just
actually pretty easy.
give up a tiny bit of your privilege.
Yeah.
That's what
So that we can all live
can
together
we can
in
have
peace.
have a nice harmonious sort of thing.
You want fucking peace on earth and goodwill toward men?
Right.
Then get your fucking crosses out of where they don't belong.
Right, exactly.
Get the Jesus out from where they don't belong.
Unnail yourself from the cross you've put yourself on, and then remove it from the public square. That's where we need to be going. This is you fucking martyrs.
Indeed.
So when you get out there into the world, dear listener, start talking about that. That's what we're talking about,
Right.
When Uncle so and so is like, "Whoa, goddamn, atheist bringing up the and he stops using words and starts just mumbling.
Right.
Say, "Oh, there's no war on Christmas. There's a war on Christian privilege."
Right.
And the more we use the phrase Christian privilege,
Christian privilege, saying that to a Christian, they might hear when you start war on Christian, that's gonna they're gonna get all up in
they're gonna
arms already. They're
close
gonna
their
shut down.
earballs.
You might want to say religious privilege.
I mean,
No?
I think we have to be clear that
I'm
in
saying
this
when you're
country,
talking to your uncle,
a war,
right.
war on privilege.
a war on privilege.
How about that? Just say, hey, I don't know what anybody else is. I don't know about those guys who put up the billboard, but I can say that for me, All I want is for nobody to be privileged over anybody else.
Yeah.
And for everyone to be treated fairly.
Right. That's what this country is all about.
That's what this country is supposed to be about. Now, that argument, which seems like the easiest argument for everybody to accept, even that argument will not fly with
you're right.
a lot of Christians.
You might as well just go for the Christian privilege then.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that a lot of Christians, and you got guys like Fisher and guys like O'Reilly and guys like Pat Robertson pushing really hard this agenda that, our country was founded by Christians under Christian, which of course all flies in the face of history, and you can point that shit out to them. It's not going to make any difference.
But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't even matter who founded the nation. What matters is who lives here now.
Right.
I don't care what a bunch of old rich white men back in the 1700s had to say about just about anything, to be honest.
Except that they wrote some pretty decent documents.
Yeah, that's fine.
And if you want, by the way,
but it can't be held as sacred. It can't be held as untouchable.
The people who wrote that document actually said, "Hey, this isn't a perfect document. We are including provisions to change it to make it better."
And to adapt to the times. Right. The spirit of the times.
As you guys realize that maybe this provision didn't work or maybe that provision needs to be added, go ahead.
But it's all fucking sacred.
Right.
They touch that damn thing. You suggest to change anything in it, and everybody just goes all
you're
up in
un-American.
Arms. Yeah.
And yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, the American thing is to acknowledge the intent of the document.
Right.
Blah blah blah.
But that's even a little off of the point. I mean, I will say this: if anybody throws the original intent of the founding fathers at you, trust me, you've got more ammunition than they do. They think they win. If you do a little research, you'll find out you win that one.
Right.
Just tell them to find the word God anywhere in any of those founding documents.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Anyway, but yes, I think that's where we need to be. That's what we need to be talking about. We need to be talking about privilege, which is sort of a buzzword right now. White privilege is a big problem, obviously, right now.
Not being received by some white people very well.
No, the problem is that the people who have
Christians
privilege don't want to admit that they have privilege. If they admit that believe me, I'm a straight white guy. I got all kinds of privilege.
Yeah.
It's nice. If I have to give all of it up, then what?
Where would that leave you?
Where would that leave me?
You're going to be just like everybody else?
I refuse.
Bullshit.
No way. No way,
I like
no how.
my pedestal.
I do like it. It's nice. I like, Louis C.K. talked about being like a white guy. And he said, you know what? Our time is going to be ending soon. And we're in trouble. We especially straight white guys.
And wasn't part of white privilege, according to Louis C.K., the ability to travel to any point in time.
Yeah, exactly. We can go back to you plant me anywhere in history, and I'm gonna be okay. Anyway, so yeah, get out there and don't be offended if people wish you a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
If you want to wish them a Happy Holidays, be prepared to say, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not against Christmas. I'm just against Christian privilege." And then do a pretty little curtsy and move along your way happily.
And scurry out.
And
skip out.
Skip away. I think that's enough. I think that's all you need to do. And with that, I curtsy to you all. And I skip away.
Well, goodbye, Dan.
If you want to tell us any stories that you have about the war on Christian privilege or about privilege in general, or anything else in the whole wide world, you can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you could call and leave a voicemail message at 424-666-8442.
Love it when you do that. You can go to the Facebook page, which is a wonderful thing, on facebook.com/TGIA atheist, or search out the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Yes, indeed. Our website is www.thankgodimatheist.com. You can go there to donate and read old blog posts.
and maybe new ones.
Maybe
You
new
never know
ones.
when a new one might pop up. It's a crapshoot. But also check out Joyride if you're using Android, everybody.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.